When that woman found me, I was drinking a life-saving iced American coffee downstairs in the company. Her name is Lin Wei. She was wearing a well-fitting Chanel suit and had delicate makeup. Apart from her overly pale face, there were almost no flaws on her. She walked straight to me and sat down opposite me, pushing a stack of photos in front of me. Her movements were precise and without any hesitation. "Hello, Mr. Tang. My name is Lin Wei, and your wife is cheating on my husband." Her voice was very flat, like an emotionless AI customer service on the phone, stating a fact that had nothing to do with her. I was stunned for 3 seconds, and my first reaction was that I was a scammer. I picked up the photo and my fingertips felt numb. The background of the photo is a hotel I have never seen before, decorated in a magnificent style. My wife Su Jing, the woman who would ask me for a hug before going out every day, is being embraced by a strange man. The man was very tall, wearing a black turtleneck sweater, with a handsome face and an extraordinary temperament. He lowered his head, his lips almost touching Su Jing's earlobe, and their posture was as intimate as a couple in love. And Su Jing, my wife, closed her eyes, with a faint smile on her lips. That smile, like a poisoned knife, stabbed into my heart accurately. I have known Su Jing for 7 years and have been married for 3 years. I think I know everything about her. She likes spicy food, but has a bad stomach. She likes to hold my arm when she sleeps, like a docile cat. She works hard and is a well-known interior designer. She often stays up until midnight to work on a plan. She said she did all this for our little family. I thought our marriage was solid, a perfect fortress. But now, this woman named Lin Wei blew my fortress to pieces with just a few photos. This might be a misunderstanding. My voice was dry as if it had been polished by sandpaper. Su Jing is not that kind of person. The corners of Lin Wei's mouth curled up in a very faint, almost sarcastic arc. Misunderstanding? Mr. Tang, do you think a woman would hug an ordinary friend in the corridor of a hotel at 11 o'clock in the evening? Do you think they will go back to their respective rooms, or go into the same room? She took out her phone again and clicked on a video. The video is very short, only about 10 seconds long, and the picture is shaky, obviously it was secretly filmed. In the video, after Su Jing and the man hugged each other, the man took out the room card and swiped open a door. Su Jing followed him and walked in without hesitation. A second before the door closed, I could even see the man's hand around Su Jing's waist. My brain buzzed and went blank. The cool air from the icy American coffee spread through my fingertips and spread throughout my body, but I felt like I was thrown into the magma of a volcano, and every inch of my skin was burning. "Why are you looking for me?" I heard my own voice asking, strange and distant. "Because we are the same kind of people." Lin Wei looked at me with a kind of cold sympathy in his eyes. "We are all people who have been betrayed. Mr. Tang, I don't want my family to break up in such an unclear way. I think you don't either. I need an ally who can work with me to dig out all the truth and then take back what belongs to us." Her eyes were calm, terrifyingly calm. They didn't look like a wife who had just discovered her husband's infidelity, but more like a general preparing to go to the battlefield, counting her weapons and soldiers. They thought they had done it perfectly, but they forgot that there is no impenetrable wall in this world. Lin Wei's voice was cold. "My husband's name is Chen Hao, he's an entrepreneur of some size. Su Jing should have met him at an industry summit last year. This is the hotel room record I found between the two of them from last month to now, a total of 7 times, in 3 different cities. And these are some screenshots of their chat records. I paid someone to restore them." She handed me the phone. Those words suffocate me more than photos and videos. "Jingjing, I miss you again. You were like a blooming rose last night." "Ahau, don't say that, my husband will see it." "What are you afraid of? Doesn't he believe that every time you work overtime, you are fighting for your future? He is such a considerate and good husband." My hands were shaking so badly that I could barely hold the phone. That caring husband was like a huge slap in the face, slapping me hard and burning. "My name is Tang Ming, and I work as a project manager in an internet company. Su Jing and I were college classmates. From school uniforms to wedding dresses, we were the envy of everyone. In order to give her a better life, I worked very hard. 996 was a common practice, and I had to go on business trips for 1 or 2 weeks every month. I thought that all my running around and hard work were for the purpose of building the foundation of our home. It turned out that I was just providing the perfect cover for their affair. I felt a chill to the bone and an unprecedented humiliation. "What do you want to do?" I raised my head and met Lin Wei's gaze. To prevent piracy of Xiaohu files, choose Xiaohu when searching for book robots. It is stable and reliable and you won't fall into traps. Finally, a hint of approval flashed across her eyes. It's very simple, she said. The first step is to collect evidence. The more evidence the better, the more deadly the better. The second step is to throw the evidence in front of them at the most appropriate time, so that they will be ruined and have nothing. Her plan was clear and cruel, like a scalpel, to cut off the flesh and blood of the man and woman piece by piece. At that moment, overwhelmed by anger and betrayal, I didn't think about mercy. Instead, I thought that the knife should be faster and crueler. Okay, I heard myself say. I'm in. After forming the Avengers Alliance with Lin Wei, my life turned into a black silent film. During the day, I am still the gentle and considerate husband. I will prepare breakfast for Su Jing, remind her to bring an umbrella, and hug her before she goes out as usual. But every time I hugged her, I felt like I was hugging a stranger. Her body temperature and the fragrance of her hair made me feel nauseous. I became a top actor, and the audience was only me. Lin Wei is an extremely efficient ally. She seems to have endless channels to get all kinds of information. Chen Hao's schedule, Su Jing's entry and exit records, their consumption lists, are continuously sent to my phone through encryption software. I am responsible for internal investigation. I began to pay attention to everything about Su Jing. She changed the password for her phone, saying the previous one was too simple and unsafe. There was an extra bottle of men's perfume in her car. She said it was given to her by a customer and the smell was too strong, so she just threw it in the car. She began to work overtime frequently, sometimes even staying out all night. She said that the project had reached a critical stage and the client had very high requirements, so her team had to stay in the company all night. In the past, I believed her words without a doubt. Now, every word seems to be a merciless mockery to me. The most devastating time for me was on a Friday night. Su Jing called and said in a tired voice that she had to work overtime again and might not be able to come back. Honey, I'm sorry. I've been too busy lately. I will make it up to you when this project is finished. There was a hint of guilt in her voice. It's okay, take care of yourself and don't get too tired. I used my lifelong acting skills to play the role of that considerate husband. After hanging up the phone, I immediately received a message from Lin Wei on my phone. It's a photo. Screenshot of Chen Hao's moments, visible only to certain people. The photo is of a room in a hot spring hotel. Outside the huge French windows are curling white mist and lush mountains and forests. Chen Hao only shows half of his body, holding a glass of red wine in his hand, with the caption, "A beautiful view at a good time, a spring night worth it." Almost at the same time, Lin Wei sent another hotel location information, which was more than 100 kilometers away from the city. She didn't say a word, but I understood instantly. My wife is spending a good time with another man more than 100 kilometers away. At that moment, something inside me completely collapsed. I grabbed my car keys and rushed out of the house like a mad beast. I didn't know what I was going to do, whether to catch them in bed together, or to beat that man up, or just see with my own eyes to what extent Su Jing could lie to me. I drove at full speed all the way, and it only took me an hour to travel more than 100 kilometers. As I stood in the lobby of the hot spring hotel like a ghost, I suddenly calmed down. Impulse is the devil. Lin Wei said that what we want is a fatal blow, not this kind of cowardly courage to alarm the enemy. I forced myself to calm down and sat down in the corner of the lobby, like a hunter waiting for his prey. At 1 o'clock in the morning, I finally saw them. Su Jing held Chen Hao's arm, and the two walked out of the elevator, talking and laughing. Su Jing's face was flushed, a kind of drunken, satisfied flush, so beautiful that it was dazzling. She had never been so relaxed and charming in front of me. Instead of leaving immediately, they sat down in the lounge area in the lobby. I hid behind a huge potted plant, less than 10 meters away from them. I heard Chen Hao say to Su Jing, "I've asked my assistant to work on the plan for you, and it will be sent to your email tomorrow morning. I've also informed Party A, so there won't be any problems." Su Jing leaned on his shoulder, her voice thick with nasal tone. "Aha, thank you. If it weren't for you, I really don't know what I would do." "Silly girl, why are you being so polite to me?" Chen Hao touched her head lovingly. "It's too hard for you to handle such a big thing alone." "I dare not tell my husband," Su Jing lowered her voice, "he is so busy at work, I don't want to distract him. And, this matter is too." I couldn't hear what was said afterwards. "But it's enough. One person is carrying such a heavy burden, what a good excuse. Don't want to distract me, What a considerate reason. It turns out that in her world, I am just an outsider who needs to be protected and hidden. And that man is the harbor where she can rely on and confide. My heart, at that moment, was completely dead. Instead of rushing out, I turned around and left the hotel silently. On the way back, I called Lin Wei. "You're right," I said in a calm voice, without a trace of emotion. "They must pay the price." On the other end of the phone, Lin Wei was silent for a moment. "Tang Ming," she called my name for the first time. "Are you okay?" "Good, better than ever before." I smiled, but tears still flowed down my cheeks. I just suddenly felt that these 3 years were like a joke. Yes, what a huge joke. As the protagonist, I didn't realize until the last moment that the grass above my head was already green. A week after catching the adulterer, Su Jing made me a request. She said she wanted to go on a business trip to another city for a week. It was a very important project that was related to her performance this year. I looked at her, and her eyes were as sincere as ever, even a little pleading. "Honey, just 1 week, okay? When I come back, we can go traveling together." I almost laughed out loud. Because just half an hour ago, Lin Wei had just sent me Chen Hao's flight information. His destination was exactly the same as the business trip city mentioned by Su Jing. Even the flight time was only half an hour late. This was no longer a simple affair, it was a romantic trip for two that was carried out with my tacit consent. My heart has become so numb that I can no longer feel the pain. "Okay," I said, "be safe." The day Su Jing left, I went to the airport to see her off. At the security check, she gave me a big hug. "Honey, I will miss you," she said in my ear. I hugged her and smelled the familiar scent of her perfume, but I was wondering in my heart, will she give this hug to another man later? After Su Jing left, my home suddenly became empty. For the first time, I felt that this house that I had decorated with my own hands was so cold and strange. The investigation Lin Wei and I are conducting has entered the most critical stage. We found that Chen Hao not only provided Su Jing with convenience at work, but also gave her a considerable sum of money in private. Lin Wei found a transfer record of 500,000 yuan, which was transferred from Chen Hao's personal account to Su Jing's card. 500,000, Lin Wei said in a cold tone. "Mr. Tang, your wife is really not cheap." I held the phone in my hand, and felt those 500,000 points were like 500,000 steel needles piercing my eyes. Under what circumstances would a woman accept a gift of 500,000 from a man? The answer is self-evident. I felt like a fool who had been stripped naked and thrown on a street corner, being pointed at and criticized by everyone. My anger reached its peak at this moment. I even started rehearsing in my mind how I would retaliate against them. Should we send this evidence anonymously to their companies and make them socially dead? Or should he file for divorce directly, make Su Jing lose face in court and be kicked out of the house with nothing? I even had a darker thought. They made me suffer, so I wanted to make them taste what real pain is. I told Lin Wei about this idea. I thought she would think I was crazy, but unexpectedly, she agreed. "Tang Ming, I understand you." There was a strange resonance in her voice. Betrayal is the most unforgivable sin in this world. For sinners, any punishment is not excessive. Her words were like a fire, igniting the last bit of rationality in my heart. Yes, they are sinners. Lin Wei and I are the judges who judge them. Just as I was about to carry out my revenge plan, an unexpected discovery turned the whole incident in a direction I had never expected. That day, I received a strange phone call. The other party claimed to be Su Jing's college roommate, Li Na. She said she had something very important to tell me about Su Jing. Little Tiger documents to prevent theft. Please find the book machine and choose Little Tiger. Stable, reliable, do not step into traps. With a hint of doubt, I met her in a cafe. Xiaohu Bot protects files from piracy. When looking for books or robots, choose Xiaohu. It is stable and reliable, and you won't make mistakes. Li Na looked very anxious. When she saw me, she said straight to the point, "Brother Tang, I know it's very presumptuous of me to do this, but I think you must know the truth." "The truth?" I sneered. "What truth? Is it the truth that Su Jing slept with another man?" Li Na was stunned and her face turned pale instantly. You know everything?" "Of course." I looked at her, feeling pleased. "I also know that the man's name is Chen Hao. I also know that they went to the Hot Spring Hotel together and went on a business trip together. I also know that the man gave Su Jing 500,000 yuan. With every word I said, Li Na's face turned paler. When I finished speaking, she suddenly burst into tears. No. It's not like that, she cried, it's not what you imagined. Brother Tang, you misunderstood Su Jing. I frowned. Misunderstanding? Are those photos, videos, chat records, and transfer records all fake? I don't know what those things are about. Lina took out a thick stack of medical records from her bag and handed them to me, but if you look at this, you will understand everything. I took the stack of medical records in confusion. In the column for the patient's name, there was a name that was both familiar and unfamiliar to me, Su Yang. He is Su Jing's biological brother. And in the diagnosis column, there were some shocking words written: acute lymphocytic leukemia. My brain suddenly shut down. When did this happen? My voice trembled. Half a year ago. Lina said, when Su Yang was first diagnosed, Su Jing completely collapsed. The doctor said that the treatment would cost at least 700,000 or 800,000 yuan, and there was no guarantee that the disease could be cured. Su Jing, she didn't dare to tell you. Why? She said you were under too much pressure at work, and you too had just bought a house with a mortgage, so she didn't want you to shoulder such a heavy burden. Her parents were old and in poor health, so they couldn't help at all. She had to carry it all by herself. Lina's words were like a heavy hammer, hitting my chest hard. I thought of Su Jing's frequent overtime and those nights when she didn't come home all night. I remembered what she said while leaning on the man's shoulder in the hot spring hotel: it's so hard for me to carry such a big thing alone. It turned out that what she was carrying was her brother's life. Then, what about Chen Hao? I asked with difficulty. Chen Hao is the husband of Su Yang's attending physician. Lina said, he also found out about this incident accidentally and felt very sorry for Su Jing, so he has been helping her. He helped her contact experts and helped her solve various problems in the hospital. That day in the hotel, Su Jing had just learned that Su Yang's matching had failed and she was emotionally broken, so Chen Hao was just comforting her. The 500,000 yuan was also lent to her by Chen Hao because he saw that she was really desperate, so he asked her to pay for her brother's treatment first. Then, those chat records. I don't know, Lina shook her head. Didn't Su Jing lose her phone once before? Could it be that time? I couldn't hear what was said afterwards. The only thing left in my mind was the diagnosis sheet that said leukemia. It turns out that what I thought was a betrayal was a shocking lie. It turned out that my wife, whom I hated so much, was alone in a place where I couldn't see her, carrying a mountain of pressure. And what did I, the husband who claimed to love her, do? I suspected her, spied on her, and even teamed up with another woman to push her into the abyss. At that moment, regret and guilt overwhelmed me like a tide. I thought I was the victim, but it turns out that I was the cruelest perpetrator. I felt like a zombie and had no idea how I left the cafe. I immediately called Su Jing, but her phone was turned off. I drove like crazy to the hospital that Lina mentioned. In the hematology ward, I finally met Su Jing. She was wearing the most ordinary white t-shirt, her hair was casually tied up, she had no makeup on, and her eye sockets were sunken. She was completely different from the radiant girl in my impression. She was sitting beside the bed, quietly reading a story to her brother. Her voice was gentle and her eyes were focused, as if the whole world only had the two of them. The moment she saw me, she froze and the storybook in her hand fell to the ground with a bang. Why are you here? There was a hint of panic in her voice. I didn't say anything, but just walked up to her quickly and hugged her tightly in my arms. My body was shaking and tears were pouring out uncontrollably. I'm sorry. I choked and said, I'm sorry, Jingjing, I'm sorry. I don't know how to explain it, or where to start. I can only repeat these 3 words over and over again. Su Jing was in my arms, first stiff, then she began to tremble. Finally, she hugged me and burst into tears. In that cry, there was grievance, depression, fear, and also the relief of finally being able to let down one's guard. At that moment, I truly understood how long my wife had walked alone in the darkness without seeing the sun. That night, Su Jing confessed everything to me. From her brother's diagnosis half a year ago, to her fruitless attempts to borrow money from everywhere, to her chance encounter with Chen Hao and receiving his help. Hubby, I really didn't mean to lie to you. She cried like a baby, I was so scared. I was afraid that you would blame me, afraid that you would think my home was a bottomless pit, I was afraid. I covered her mouth with my hand. Stop talking. My heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. I am the one who should say sorry. It was me who didn't take good care of you. It was me who didn't notice your abnormality. It was me who pushed you away. If I had discovered it earlier, if I had cared more, if I had been less self-righteous and trustful, perhaps nothing would have turned out like this. It was me, with my negligence and indifference, who left my wife alone on the battlefield. There is still one most crucial question that has not been answered in this matter. Lin Wei. Where did the evidence she provided me, including photos, videos, and even fake chat records, come from? Why did she do that? I told Su Jing about my doubts. Su Jing thought about it for a long time and suddenly her face changed. I remember now, she said. When I attended the industry summit last year, Chen Hao once told me that he and his wife had a bad relationship. His wife seemed a little paranoid. She always suspected that he was cheating on her. She even went to his company and caused him to lose a very important project. My heart shuddered. A paranoid and extremely controlling woman. A woman who, in order to confirm her suspicions, does not hesitate to forge evidence and even win over allies. I remembered every time I met Lin Wei. She was always so calm and rational, so rational that she didn't seem like a normal wife betrayed by her husband. Now thinking about it, that was not rational, it was a deliberate calculation. What she needs is not the truth, but an actor and props that can prove her script of her husband cheating on her. And I am the most suitable prop that she carefully selected. She used my anger and pain as a knife to hurt the people I loved most. A chill went up from my spine to the top of my head. This woman is so scary. I have to stop her. I don't know what crazy thing she will do next. After discussing with Su Jing, we decided to take the initiative. We made an appointment with Lin Wei and Chen Hao, and the four of us sat together to talk everything out at once. The meeting place was set at a very private tea house. When I walked into the box holding Su Jing's hand, Lin Wei and Chen Hao had already arrived. Lin Wei still had that delicate and indifferent look. When she saw Su Jing beside me, a hint of barely perceptible surprise flashed in her eyes. Little, Tiger bot text, software anti-piracy, find, book machine, person select little, Tiger, stable, sure, reliable, don't step, pit. Chen Hao, the handsome man in the photos and videos, now looked haggard and tired. When his eyes met Su Jing's, he felt a little guilty and apologetic. Mr. Chen, Mrs. Chen. I pulled Su Jing to sit down and got straight to the point. I invited you two here today to clarify some misunderstandings. I pushed the copy of Su Yang's diagnosis to the center of the table. The situation between my wife and Mr. Chen is not what you think. Mr. Chen just extended a helping hand to my wife when she was in the most difficult time out of kindness. I spoke calmly, but every word was powerful. A look of understanding appeared on Chen Hao's face. He glanced at Lin Wei beside him and sighed. But Lin Wei's reaction made me feel scared. She stared at the diagnosis report intently, the color on her face gradually faded away, turning as white as paper. But she was not angry, nor surprised. In her eyes, there was a kind of disappointment that was almost despair. It was as if the castle she had carefully built was suddenly toppled. And she could not accept this fact. Impossible. She murmured to herself, this is impossible. You are lying to me, you are all lying to me. She suddenly raised her head and stared at Su Jing, her eyes full of resentment. It's you, you vixen. You used your brother's illness as an excuse, do you think you can clear yourself this way? I tell you, no way. I won't let either of you two dogs go. She became hysterical and completely lost her previous calm and self-control. That's enough. An angry shout interrupted her roar. It's Chen Hao. He stood up and looked down at Lin Wei, his eyes full of pain and disappointment. Lin Wei, how long are you going to make trouble? He turned his head, looked at Su Jing and me, and bowed deeply. Mr. Tang, Mrs. Tang, I'm sorry. His voice was hoarse and heavy. This is all my fault. I shouldn't have intervened in your lives without taking care of my own family affairs, causing you so much harm. Then, he looked at Lin Wei and told her word by word a truth that shocked both Su Jing and me. My wife Lin Wei, she has a serious mental illness. Medically, it's called jealousy paranoia. She always suspects that I'm cheating on her without any basis, and suspects that all the women around me have improper relationships with me. She would follow me, look through my phone, and even plant a bug in my car. The photos and videos she sent to Mr. Tang were all taken out of context and edited maliciously by her through various means. As for the chat records, they were her own imagination, and she asked someone to Photoshop them. I have taken her to see a psychologist many times, but she simply refused to cooperate with the treatment. This time, she targeted the innocent Mrs. Tang again and even took advantage of Mr. Tang. I really have no other choice. Chen Hao's face was filled with endless fatigue and despair. Lin Wei completely collapsed after hearing what Chen Hao said. She rushed forward like an angry lion, tearing Chen Hao's clothes, crying and laughing. You're talking nonsense. For that little bitch, you actually slandered me as being sick. Chen Hao, you are not a human. I have paid so much for you, and you actually treated me like this. Her sharp and desperate cries echoed throughout the box. Su Jing and I sat there, motionless, feeling cold all over. We all thought that this was a war about love and betrayal. In the end, we realized that we had accidentally entered a madman's world. She is not an avenger. She was just a poor person whose sanity was devoured by her own inner demons. What happened next was like a farce that got out of control. Lin Wei was forcibly taken away by Chen Hao. The tea house owner almost called the police. When Su Jing and I walked out of the tea house, the sun was shining brightly outside, but I felt that this world was as absurd as a dream. Later, I heard that Chen Hao and Lin Wei divorced. Lin Wei's family took her back to her hometown to receive systematic psychiatric treatment. Chen Hao gave most of their marital property to Lin Wei as compensation. He made a long phone call to Su Jing and me, apologizing over and over again. After all, he and I can no longer be friends. That experience was like a thorn between our two families, and no one could ignore it. And Su Jing and I's life can never go back to the way it was before. Although the storm caused by misunderstandings and lies has subsided, it has left an unhealable crack in our once perfect marriage castle. There is an invisible barrier between us. I can't forget that I once speculated about her so maliciously, doubted her, and even wanted to destroy her. And Su Jing could never forget that when she was in the most pain and helpless, I, her husband who should have been her strongest support, stood against her. Once trust is broken, it is very difficult to rebuild it. We started trying to communicate. We talked about her brother's illness and the mental and physical exhaustion she felt during that time. We also talked about my anger, my humiliation, and my desire for revenge. We cut open each other's darkest and most unbearable sides, bloody, and exposed them to the sun. That process was painful and torturous. We quarreled, we had the Cold War, and we even thought about giving up. But in the end, we all persevered. Because we know that although we all made mistakes in that absurd farce, our love for each other is still there in our hearts. It's just that love has been covered with thick dust due to too many misunderstandings and hurts. All we need to do is wipe off the dust bit by bit. Half a year later, Su Yang's bone marrow transplant was successful and he is recovering steadily. My brain buzzed and went blank. And we no longer pursue a seemingly perfect mutual respect as before. We learned to quarrel, to express our dissatisfaction, and also to give each other the most genuine hug when the other person is most vulnerable. It was a weekend afternoon and the sun was shining. Su Jing and I sat on the rattan chairs on the balcony, doing nothing but staying there quietly. She suddenly said to me, "Honey, I'm sorry." I was stunned for a moment. She said, "That day in the hospital, you shouldn't have said sorry to me first. I should have apologized. It was me who didn't trust you and treat you as a partner who could go through thick and thin together. If I had told you everything at the beginning, we wouldn't have taken so many detours." I held her hand and smiled. What's the point of saying this now? Haven't we come all the way here? Yes, we came here. Although we were covered in wounds, we did not lose each other in the end. That incident, like a high fever, burned away all the false prosperity in our marriage, and also burned away all the cowardice and pretense in our characters. We all thought we were victims and judges, but in the end, we discovered that there is never absolute right or wrong in this relationship. It's just whether we are willing to let down our guard and be honest with each other for the sake of each other. Lin Wei's appearance was like a devil falling from the sky, and almost destroyed everything for us. But it was her appearance that made Su Jing and I see the true face of marriage. It is not a perfect castle, nor a safe haven. It is more like a small boat that needs two people working together to barely move forward in the stormy waves. Su Jing and I are ready to be each other's bravest sailors. Even though there will still be wind and waves ahead, this time, we will not let go of each other's hands easily.